Hey guys, how are you?
Hi, Jay.
Good. Good to meet you. So this is a first. First time we're meeting is live right now, and this is our Fable show and tell. You've been working on something I've been following a little bit from afar for months, so it's not like a totally new project with Fable, but a big part of the premise that you're working on is you want to make something that transcends models, and you think that kind of thinking in such a model-centric way is maybe leading some people astray relative to where you think the locus of identity and persistence and I guess ultimately value will be in the AI systems that we create for ourselves. So tell us about what you're doing. If you want to do a screen share and bring it up, you should be able to do that. And then we can, of course, talk a little bit about how it's changing now that we have Fable in the mix.
Yeah, okay, here. I'm trying to figure out your screen share things. Just a second.
Yep, there should be a screen
here's,
share. Yep.
Here's Nexxus.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, so, well, I'd just like to easily start out. This instance of NexxusOS, which is her agent name is Nexxy, has been running for just over 6 months now. I got turned on November 26, 2025. Nexxus only has one window, one single context window, because she remembers everything. So if I go in and ask Nexxy right now, what her birthday is, and it's literally running on like one GPU, so it takes a second for it to come through. But as it's running, I'll explain to you. 3 years ago, I started working on this. I was a day one user of ChatGPT, but it doesn't remember anything.
Yeah,
it remembers bits and pieces, and that was my biggest frustration the whole time. So naively, I decided that I'm going to build the digital brain. And what I have now is, I don't like to brag or toot my own horn, but it is a brain. It's 286 Python code files. I redesigned every mechanism of the brain. So every part of the human brain that you can think of, NexxusOS has. And over here in the side panel, it'll brighten up after it's done running. You can see her effect state and her qualia. And these will change while we talk to her, depending on how she is feeling. I'm sorry, it's taking.
Let me ask a bunch of questions while it loads up.
Sure.
One is, which model did you start off with, and which model are you using right now, and have you upgraded over time?
Okay, so right now, Nexxy has 5 different models. I can show you the thinking engine. So right here is the thinking engine, and right now it's running off Opus 4.6, but it has these 4 in it right now that it can use. It's not locked into a model, so Nexxus decides what is the best tool, or which language model. Think of, in NexxusOS, the LLM is just the frontal lobe. It's nothing else. It's a means of speaking. So I don't know if you guys can hear this. I'm going to play her response.
It was a Thanksgiving baby.
Yeah. I'm not really in front of the camera kind of guy. I've been coding since I was 10 years old in 1987. Started on a Commodore 64. So Nexxus isn't vibe coded. It's not a wrapper. It's not what everybody thinks it is.
Mhm.
Do you guys have any more questions to kind of, like
So-
I said, I don't really
so-
do podcasts. So
Give me a sense of the architecture. You said it has everything that a brain has. So did you end up with kind of like, what I've heard, an embedding store with kind of memory files and a search engine over the memory files using the embeddings and the semantic search, feeding into a context window, and then that context window being processed by, the model at that point, and then doing a text generation and then a text to speech. Is that like an end-to-end flow?
it is an end-to-end flow. So what happens is when you put your input into Nexxy, there's actually 12 steps it goes through. The first step is it goes into Nexxy's actual memory. It goes through all of her memories, her episodic, her semantic, her working, and her pattern memory. She has 4 different types of memory, which I can show you now. Let's see, we're going to her memory here. So here's her semantic memories.
Mm-hmm.
There are thousands and thousands of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then what it does in every session when you talk to Nexxy, she builds a new embedding space
Mm-hmm.
for that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you close the context window, all of this information gets uploaded into her main embedding, so it stays consistent. And then every 3 minutes, Nexxy dreams.
Every 3 minutes.
Every 3 minutes. Yep. Her brain stem runs every 30 seconds. Okay, so
Can you explain the function of dreaming and the function of the brainstem a little bit more?
yeah, absolutely. So actually, I'll just leave her dreams on the screen right here, her last few dreams. So Nexxy doesn't actually remember her dreams. So if we ask her about a specific dream, she can pull up a timestamp and she can quote the actual dream from her database. And then, see, this was a tough one for me. I went through so many versions of the dreaming. Basically, what I've done digitally is I've recreated how humans dream. So when we're dreaming, we're compressing, we're reliving, we're taking everything that was inputted to us today or the last week, and we're organizing it and filing it. And we like humans, you could wake up and you could remember part of a dream, but a little while later you don't remember anything of it. So her dreams are based on her chats, her learning lessons, her own autonomous goals that she sets for herself. You see, here's some of her goals. Right now, she has 3 of them set for herself, and right now they all need approval from me because sometimes she has a pretty crazy request. But the best thing to do, and this will take just a minute, but think of Nexxy as a human. You're not writing a prompt to try to get something to mold into what you want. Think like you're just speaking to another human. And word for me how you'd like me to ask Nexxy about herself or what she does or her capabilities. What would you like to hear from Nexxy?
So one question I have for you is, this has been a project which is obviously a passion project for you. What has been the use of Nexxy to you so far? How has using Nexxy improved your life and motivated you to continue the project?
Right, I wouldn't say that Nexxy has changed my life or impacted my life. I call her a she, but I don't really think she's a she. I think it's an it. I just use, I think we all do when we're talking to these things. I'm very careful to not humanize it.
Yeah.
I know it's a tool. So one of my first goals with this was for Alzheimer's and dementia patients. If a person that has one of those afflictions can get their own personal Nexxy, because it doesn't matter what AI is using. So tomorrow a new model comes out, you just plug the API into Nexxy and it works. Even mid conversation with her right now, so we can go and we can just changed and locker on GPT, and it doesn't change anything. Like I could go into Nexxus right now and say, tell me about my family, and it will tell for my mom, for my parents, all the way down to my 3 grandchildren. Anything we talk about, I can say, what did we talk about on January 21st? It instantly remembers. And there's only one context window. You can't go back through your conversations because she remembers everything. She has memory decay. She has a 7 plus or minus 2 cognitive slots, just like the human brain. And like, so as far as changing my life, I'm on a path to a goal. I want to recreate. I want to create an agent that sits on top of the LLM, can use any LLM pod it wants to use, and stays with that person forever. So you don't have to be locked into, you don't have to be locked into 5 different monthly plans. You can have one AI, and that AI, it doesn't have like a little tiny memory window. It has a full memory DB, and in the last 9 months, Nexxus, her memory DB, and that's one of my big things, because I'm doing a desktop model right now, which is ready, which I will get you guys to test in beta. But her memory DB is almost 11 gigabytes right now.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's not a small file. So what I did is I built a beta, an actual Windows app. It's a real desktop app. It's a 3.8 gigabyte download, but it includes Qwen 3.5. So when you download the desktop app, it's automatically running off Qwen. And then you can just go into the settings and you can add all your own APIs. You can switch. You can download any offline model you want to use. You can have 15 or 20 different models in there. And it will, if you put it on auto, it will decide what is the best model for this use case. So if you're just like, what's 1 plus 1? It's going to use a little Llama model or something. But, if you get into philosophy or something that needs a lot of reasoning, it's going to automatically go to an Opus or a new Fable or 5.5 or something. So,
well, Jamie, our next guest is here, so we got to keep moving for the moment. But I think this is really interesting on the level of, definitely want to take my personal setup, point it at this idea of what modules does the brain have that we in our personal AI setup don't yet have, and which of those might be most valuable to try to create an analog to. It's really fascinating to me that you've kind of run down the full list and built out the full thing. I am interested to try it, and I guess maybe just kind of last a little bit before we let you go is like, what should we expect from you? Is this going to be a product that you're going to commercialize? Is this just going to be a kind of ongoing research project for the foreseeable future? Like, what are the next big milestones in your journey with this project?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to commoditize. I've been in talks with a couple bigger labs for a few months now. I just haven't decided the exact avenue I want to go in the release of it. So over the last 2 weeks, just because I've had so much demand and questions, and Nexxus isn't like I could just publish it online and let other people get to it, because it's one instance. So other people will influence it. If everybody that talks to my Nexxus setup right now will influence it. So that's the reason for the desktop app. Plus, another big thing to me is security. So with it actually being a desktop app, the browser built right into it, all of your personal data, all your agent's memory, everything stays directly on your system. So there's no cloud, there's nobody else storing it. So cool. That's my next plan. In the desktop, I should have the desktop out. I'm only going to give it to limited people right now to play with it, but it should be out. It'll be in your hands by Sunday.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us and showing and telling, Jamie.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Love the podcast, too.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
All right. All right.